Now, with players like Bryce Harper, Steven Strasburg, Matt Harvey, and Christian Yelich, just to name a few representing the National League East, that division is in good hands for years to come. They've set the bar pretty high. So can the current group of top prospects live up to that hype? Let's send it over to Scott Braun.
We're digging into some NL East prospects with Baseball America's J.J. Cooper and John Manuel. And this is a division that when you put out your organizational talent rankings, 3 of the bottom 9 are in the NL East. So that stands out in a negative aspect, John.
Yeah, it does. And the Braves were the organization that really was at the bottom of those rankings. They really acted on it. Our former coworker here, John Hart, took over. He cleaned house, not just with the players, but also in the front office, changed scouting directors. And I think the Braves added a lot of talent this offseason, JJ. To me, there's no organization that remade itself as much as Atlanta.
If you do our updated top 20 for them right now, over half of them are guys that they've acquired this offseason. They realized that their farm system was in really bad shape, and they've done a lot to try to fix that.
This offseason has certainly kept you guys on your toes. And let's continue along here with the NL East, and we'll talk about hitters first. Give me a player to keep an eye on, an impact prospect in a system.
Well, the Mets have been one of the more inert teams in this division in terms of the player acquisition, but that's because their farm system is so strong, and Brandon Nimmo can really hit. And this guy's smooth. We don't have a lot of templates for guys like Brandon Nimmo, the Wyoming high school draft pick in the first round. There are not a lot of guys that you can compare him to, but this is a guy who grew up hitting. An older brother who played in Nebraska, so the dad basically converted the barn into a batting cage. And you can see it. He's smooth. He's rhythmic. He's always on time. The other aspect that sticks out about Brandon Nimmo is that he really works at his craft offensively and defensively. So if he can be a center fielder in Citi Field with his power, and he's got a chance to be an above-average player offensively at that position.
That's the question. Can he stay in center field? If he's a center fielder, he's everything you want to see. If he's a corner, then you start asking, okay, is the power going to be enough for what you want to see in a corner? You talk about the Mets. I'll go with the Phillies. They're another one that's kind of at the bottom. But they're not at the bottom because of J.P. Crawford. That's not his problem. Shortstop J.P. Crawford is the next great shortstop prospect. When we do our top 100 show, you're going to see a lot of shortstops at the top of that list. If we did this show next year, I wouldn't be shocked at all that you see J.P. Crawford climb into that top 10. Crawford is that kind of that blend of offense and defense. He could be an exceptional defender, rangy, kind of a bigger guy, but with enough range and an arm to handle it. And then you look at the plate. He's going to hit for average. He knows how to control the strike zone. And then really the question is the power's at least going to be somewhat there. Is he going to be a 10-homer guy or is he going to be a 20? A 20 makes him an all-star.
I'm really trending toward the 20. This guy's got some thunder in his hands. I really see J.P. Crawford being a future star. He could be a #1 guy on this list next year.
A shortstop to look forward to in the Phillies organization. I'm surprised, John, that you brought up a Mets hitter because when it comes to the Mets farm system, and it's ranked quite high in the top 5 according to you guys, and 26th just back in 2013, I think of the pitching staff. Is that still come to mind for you?
You do, and usually you think of right-handed pitching lately for them, whether it's Matt Harvey or Noah Syndergaard or Zach Wheeler or Jake DeGrom. But Steven Matz is a power left-hander, and he's one of the biggest reasons why they've progressed from lower in the farm system rankings to higher. Because he was injured for a couple of years. It took him 2 years. Hey, Tommy John surgery is not always automatic. Took him 2 years really to come back from the Tommy John surgery. You can see in the video, he's got explosive stuff. The ball really comes out of his hand well. He spins it, and then again, there's that work ethic. I think that rehab is what really brought that out of him, that he had to work at his craft. He couldn't just be the Long Island power arm kid who just blew hitters away. Now he's got work ethic and some polish to go with premium stuff. I think he's a future #3 starter for a Mets team, and that might be all they need.
And it seems like he gets maybe a bit overlooked in that system as we talk about Noah Syndergaard quite often, but also Jacob DeGrom seemed to be overlooked somewhat in that system, and he was the Rookie of the Year in the National League last year.
They have arm after arm after arm. Rafael Montero is really kind of completely forgotten. Had a little rough start last year, but he could be a back-end starter. I mean, they have too many arms. That's a good problem to have.
How about a pitcher for you?
One of the things I love about when you go to the lower minors, low Class A, there are days that you get there and then you see something that you never expected to see. Scouts saw that this year with the Nationals' Ronaldo Lopez. Ronaldo Lopez truly came out of nowhere. Signed for less than $20,000 a couple of years ago, missed all of 2013, only had 20 innings total coming into 2014. So in 2014, he goes out there, and all of a sudden you're seeing this guy who throws 98, 99, carries it into the 5th, 6th inning, has a decent breaking ball, and had a stretch where he allowed 1 run in almost 50 innings. He dominated that league in the Sally League. He's got to move pretty quick, you would think, even though he is kind of a guy who came out of nowhere, because that kind of stuff is just stuff you don't see very often.
Baseball America's Top 50 Prospects is going to be unveiled February 19th, Thursday, on MLB Network at 9 Eastern.
Scott, thank you so much. Back here inside Studio 3, Paul Severino. We've got Dan Plesac, we've got Eric Burns. So prospects to watch for in your eyes in the NL East. Who you got?
Well, let's go with Michael Taylor. I mean, this is something interesting because I got my first good look at him today, and I was trying to think who he reminds me of. Look at the short stroke, keeping the ball up the middle. He's got a nice, good inside-out swing. This is an Oppo Taco home run right here by Michael Taylor. Now, there's not a lot of guys who could do that at the age of 23. I'll tell you one who could and burst on the scene. He's going to be a teammate of Michael Taylor's, Jason Worth. Yes, sir. Nice, simple approach. You wonder if Rick Schu's been working with these guys. That's the brilliant hitting coach of the Washington Nationals. Very, very similar. Jason Worth, when he burst on the scene, for me, Dan Plesac, he was a guy I thought to myself, wow, you can't teach that sort of swing. That's something that usually guys will get later in their career. What I mean by that are keeping their hands inside the ball. Usually everything's pull, pull, pull early. Even this catch right here reminds me of Jason Worth a little bit. The way he comes in, a lot of control in the outfield, controls his body, very good at closing out plays.
That's good stuff. They look nothing alike, mainly because of Jason Worth's beard. But how about some pitching in the NL East?
The New York Mets. Listen, this is a team go back to the 60s. Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver in the 70s, built around pitching. Steven Matz, remember the name, Paul. I know Noah Syndergaard gets a lot of the accolades, but Steven Matz, he's already had Tommy John surgery, some shoulder issues in 2012. Reminds me a little bit of Cliff Lee. See that back leg, kind of that bends that back leg, and this is where it gets really similar. They both have the upper hand, almost three-quarter delivery, and then the finish. Head on the target. You can see that foot up in the air. He's a little bit taller, maybe not quite up on top of the ball as Cliff Lee, but he reminds me a lot mechanically of Cliff Lee. This guy has 3 quality pitches, and you might see him with the Amazons in 2015. He's come in a short time. He's come a long way.
And that's the thing with the Mets. We just keep hearing pitching, pitching, pitching.